Good evening, everyone, and thanks for joining us for today's town hall. I'm Claudine Ewing. Michael Wooten is off this week. Right now, health officials are urging people to limit your time outside because of the smoke-filled skies caused by wildfires in Canada. Here's a live look right now over downtown Buffalo, where things are still hazy and things aren't much better across the state. Places like New York City, Rochester, and Syracuse experiencing smoke-filled skies. And Storm Team 2 meteorologist Jennifer Stanonis joins us tonight with an update on that air quality alert. And Jen, how much longer do we have to endure this? This is just so different for us.
Yeah, it is not usual. It seems like we're out west right now where they deal with this kind of thing.
And you know about that,
Yeah,
growing up from the west.
Definitely. I mean, you got a lot of those fires and it's not really a season anymore. It's the entire year you're dealing with these fires. So locally, it just happens that we have this low pressure system just stuck to the east of us. So we have this dominant flow of air from the north, and that's why we've continued to have day after day smoke issues and air quality issues, and that's why we probably are going to be dealing with it again tomorrow and maybe into Friday, although there should be finally some improving conditions for the end of the week and especially for the weekend. Currently though, right now, look at these visibilities, still dealing with some thicker smoke, especially across the southern tier, Olean, Wellsville, Jamestown, and also Bradford into northern Pennsylvania. Getting a slight improvement here in Buffalo currently, but we still have an air quality alert in effect for all of western New York and northern Pennsylvania, and goes until midnight Thursday night for those fine particles from the smoke. And note that tonight's air quality index going to be above 150 for that value. So we are still continuing to be in that unhealthy zone for everyone. Recommended it should be limiting outdoor, especially strenuous activities. And for those usually sensitive to this, should remain indoors as much as possible. Tomorrow, more of the same expected, and could even have thicker smoke, so definitely keep that in mind as you're planning anything for tomorrow. I have more details on that forecast and the smoke, looking at all of that in Future Look coming up. Right now, back to you, Claudine.
Jen, thank you very much for that report.
So right now, I have been documenting the air quality readings across the state of New York. So say for example, in Buffalo, as of like 9 a.m. this morning, the PM 2.5, or so-called the fine particulate, the more toxic components in the air, reached roughly 200 microgram.
On the air quality index scale, 200 falls under the very unhealthy category. And joining me live right now is Stacy Malashevsky, Director of Marketing for Austin Air Systems. What we are experiencing, Stacy, really seems so foreign here. Canadian wildfires worsening our air quality. What should we know about using air conditioners right now?
Air conditioners are obviously, they're pulling air from the outside, and so it's important for people to be mindful of that. The whole point when the air quality outside is not so good is to limit what comes in. So you're going to want to probably seal off a lot of your, at least the portable air conditioners that are in the window. They say it's a good idea too, if you have a fresh air vent on your HVAC system, that too, should be addressed. So kind of just limiting what's coming in, because you want to provide a very safe space in your environment.
Because as we mentioned, this is so foreign. People really don't know what to do, especially now. This is a season. You're using air conditioners. Now, a lot of outdoor activities, as you've probably heard, have been canceled. What can we address about that? What should we know about that, especially when it comes to wearing masks in these conditions?
Yeah, I mean, it's good, especially if you're somebody who, is predisposed to some type of breathing condition, to be mindful of what's outside. And if you are feeling any type of trigger, that's important to stay indoors.
And then there are those who work outdoors. And there are some people who work outdoors and they're dealing with maybe exhaust systems. And so they have to come in contact with that, along with the conditions that we're getting from the Canadian wildfires. So what should they know? What should they do?
I mean, as much as you can indoors, and provide a safe space for yourself. Any way that you're able to do it, to seal out a lot of these things that are so harmful. Maybe it's coming in for brief periods of time before you go back out, but maintaining that area where you can go to get a reprieve.
Air purifiers. People talk about it from time to time. Right now, there's probably a rush. People are like, I got to go find an air purifier. Where can I get it? What should I get? So if they are looking for air purifiers, what should they look for?
Well, it's a huge topic, and I'm glad you asked that question because not all air purifiers are created equal, especially when we're talking about wildfire smoke. Because when you think of a wildfire, it's not just organic matter that's burning. It's not just your trees and your vegetation. You have structures, man-made structures. You know, so then there's the elemental metals. There's plastics. There's the risk for formaldehyde, dioxins, all these different things. VOCs, gases that are very problematic, and especially for people with breathing conditions. A regular air purifier is not going to get out a lot of those very harmful gases, VOCs, and that type of thing. You need the activated carbon for that. And you need a substantial amount of filter material in that so that you are able to pull a lot of this out, because this isn't a normal situation.
Right,
this is a lot of smoke, a lot of chemicals all at one time, and so you need something robust enough that can handle that.
And what about keeping those windows closed right
Yes, we always encourage people to keep the windows closed, crank up your air filter, you know, and again, provide that safe environment for you and your family.
Information that we definitely needed to hear, and we needed to hear from an expert because this is something we're not used to here in Western New York. So thank you so much for joining us. That was Stacy Malashevsky, Director of Marketing for Austin Air Systems.